Okay, everybody, let's look at this program. I'm doing, let me see which one, this one, the programming exercise in your lecture notes, fruit cost. Okay, that's the one we are doing. So I copied that question, that problem requirement here. So we are asking the user to enter 5 types of fruit, the cost and the quantity they purchased, and then we calculate the cost of each type and the total cost, and then display all the information. Okay, so if you break it down, I actually did. I told you to do these things, right? Declare and do these things. So if you break it down, really you are doing all these 4 tasks. That is declaring variables, get user input, do the calculations, and display the results. Okay, so let's declare the variables first. We need to do 5 types of fruit. So why don't we just declare final, right? Let's call it number. Excuse me. This way, we actually can change it to 7 or 8. It's much easier. Okay. And then we need the fruit name. So let's just declare a string variable, a string type array. Call it fruit names, right? Okay. And we use the initializer list. So we will type the names. I will do that. Okay, so we have these 5 types of fruit using the initializer list. And then we need to know the price for each type. So we need a double. Double is much safer because it has decimal places. So new double. And we use the constant, right? And this is not right, of course. And so I will declare the arrays here. Okay, these are declared. We use this to store the price for each fruit. And this is the number of the quantities we purchased. And this is the cost per fruit. This is the total cost. Usually you initialize the variable to its default value, and especially when you calculate the total or product or the division result, the quotient, you always initialize them first. So total cost, that's the summation, right? We initialize it to 0. We declared all these variables, and we need to get user input. So we need a scanner object, and let's do that. Scanner, scan, you can call it anything, remember that? I cannot spell today. Okay, when you do this, you can see there is the red X there. That means it's not correct. And you know the reason. The reason is that we did not import the scanner class. So you click on that, click on that red X and just import. This way you don't have to write it, okay? And now it's imported for you. So that's a shortcut you can use. So here we declared all the variables, and now we need to get the user input. So to get the user input, we need to ask the user to enter the price for each type of fruit and the quantity they purchased. So let's give them that instruction, system.out.println, enter the price, unit price, and the quantity. You purchased, right? Okay, so this is the instruction. And now, in order to get all 5, we need to use a for loop. And remember, we discussed this before, that whenever you process an array, you need to always use a loop, for loop, to process each element in the array. So here is the for loop. Okay, it's almost always like this, from the beginning, which is 0, to the end, which is number -1. So I'm going to just do this so that the user can see what we are entering. And notice I'm using print so that it's on the same line. Okay, print. What do we want to print? We want to print the fruit name. So I can actually use this array, fruit name, that's the array there, fruit name, I, right, sub I. And that is from 0 to 1 to 2, 3, 4. So this will show you, show the user what fruit name we are talking about. And let's give it that so that the user knows. Okay. And then we will get the fruit name, we show the fruit name, and we will ask the user to enter the input, the price. And so we need to assign that input to this array, element by element. And we are reading from the keyboard a double, not an int, right? Because our type is a double here, not that one, this one. So we need to do that. Okay. And then we also want to ask the user to enter the quantity. So it's the same. Okay, so here we are asking the user for input and we get it, right? The next part is we will get the calculation, okay, going. So what do we calculate? We want to calculate the cost per fruit. Okay, so again, we need to use a for loop to calculate that. Some of you may think, why don't we just do everything in this one for loop? Well, the reason I'm not doing that is because they are logically different tasks. We want to separate them. Okay, this is actually pretty important to logically separate the tasks into different segments of code, because later you will learn to write functions, methods, and you need to separate them so that you can plug in, plug and play. You can do that very easily, modularize the tasks. Okay, so here we use this for loop, and we need to calculate the, what do we need to calculate? The cost per fruit, right? Cost per fruit. Okay, and how do you calculate that? You do price times quantity. So price times quantity. Okay, this will do the calculation. So now this result will be assigned to cost per fruit. Now we will have the cost for each type of fruit. And the next part is we will do the total cost of all the fruit. Okay, so basically we accumulate total cost plus equal to cost per fruit, right? Okay, we add each one to total cost using this for loop. And once again, that's why you need to initialize total cost right here, because the first time it's 0 and you are doing 0 plus cost per fruit, sub I. Okay, so now we did that. We calculated, this is, the spelling is wrong. Oops. Calculations, right? Okay, now let's display the information. Okay, to display the information, I will do it and then I will explain it, okay? Okay, so here are the statements I wrote. So let's look at this. We print out the statement just to say, here is all the information. And then we print out what? We print out fruit name, right? Okay. and I give it 2 tabs just to format it. And then we print out the price for that type of fruit and the quantity purchased and the cost per fruit. And just to use the tabs to separate them a little bit better. And after that, okay, we don't have to have this line actually. I can just delete it. And then after the for loop, this is to do the 5 types of fruit. We print out one line that shows you the total cost. Okay, so that is the program. If you go back and look at it, see if you understand it. If not, go back and watch the video. Okay, I'm going to run this program so that you see what it looks like. Let me run. Okay, so you see here, enter the unit price and the quantity you purchase. So I will enter apple 148, that's the unit price, 148, and the quantity is 3.4 pounds, for example. I will do that, and then you press enter. Also notice I'm using a space to separate the 2 input, so the system knows okay, that the first one is 1 input, the second one is the second input. So it knows, okay, I will do that. Okay, so here is all the information I entered, and here is all the information displayed. Okay, if you notice that these all match, right? That's the total cost. And what you can do is you can also put some header before this. For example, here you can say fruit name and price, quantity, total cost, etc. And so that's all the information you had. And here is the total cost we displayed. Okay, that is it, everybody.